I really wish I could record some of the rants I do with myself. But I know when I record, it affects me ranting. It's like I'm not just talking to myself anymore. But I was thinking about the significance of birthdays. I was like, what is the significance of your birthday? It's a solar year. It's one revolution of the Earth around the sun, a solar cycle. The statement I made that I liked so much was, the sun is no more in the position that it is on the day that you're born than it is in any other day of your life. Because it's always moving. Regardless of our revolutions around the sun, like, stop sign here. This used to not be a four-way, it was a two-way at one time, so I always feel like somebody's gonna be flying through there. But the solar, so that's what the sun's doing. The sun's just flying through space. It's always in a different position, especially from where we were when we were born. So I'm like, it's kind of, once again, one of these naive physical attachments, this is just my opinion, seems to be a physical attachment to, something we want to mark on the calendar. It's like when you come back around, then I went to, okay, maybe it's your star date. Because, you're back to the location of where the constellations are, of when you were born. So it's like Happy Sunday. And then I was like, wait a minute, yeah, our sun is a star. So if our sun is a star, and it is responsible for all the things that we are, then we have some kind of energetic connection to it. So maybe every year, the position in which we are orbiting the sun is more of a significance than may be perceived. It's like, what the heck? But the fact that, the birthday thing, like, it is my birthday. It's like, so every 365 days, your birthday is day 1. Day 366, and, multiply that by 2, 3, 4, and how many ever years you live, I almost feel like it's not extremely significant. Unless there's a celestial or solar connection. And since the sun, see, it's important to remember that the sun is flying through space, like, whoosh, right? Just like I'm going down the street here. And all of us on these planets are trailing behind it somewhat in a helix fashion. And so wherever we are in space is constantly changing. So even if you say, yeah, the sun's moving, but the Earth is, it's like we're in a different part of the galaxy than we were. That's what always fascinates the question about how the constellations remain the same. Maybe it would take a couple thousand years to notice a movement of the constellations, and our current so our current location, or maybe less location, our current sun, the current star we have, and our DNA connection to being a part of this star. I seen last night they were talking about DNA, and we share something. The first thing that was amazing is it's like they know about only 1.2%, or it's only 1.2% of our DNA is active, or something like that. And my thought was like, the workings or the operation of this other 80% of our DNA is our innate etheric or energetic connection to everything else that shares that much DNA with us. They were like, we share 30% of our DNA with that of bananas. And so that makes me think, if everything here in this solar system, in this star grouping that was born of our star, so if Saturn was once a star here, then everything that was born of that star would have a different operational nature and configuration. Maybe similar because of overall natural law and similarities, but then different in its own complexities. So the stories, if you've done or heard any people that have done research about Saturn being a star at one time and there being a different sun in the sky, the golden age, and these theories, you know, of the outer gas giants once being stars, then maybe the people and their lifespans and their abilities to connect to this non-physical etheric side of the DNA that they had from their star was much greater, or it hadn't been subverted by common indoctrination or, you know, common self-limiting projective thinking, if that makes sense. So maybe if everything in this solar system is, or everything on this planet, maybe not even everything in the solar system, like Venus or Mars, there's ideas of Venus, I think it is, being a comet planet that came in. You know, so maybe there's certain planets that were born. I know this is way off topic of the birthdays, but just let it connect. So maybe the significance of our birthdays is our DNA connection to the configuration of where we were at the particular time we came into into existence from the ability of our star at that exact point in its life cycle. And so that configures our innate nature, or what our DNA is, and who we are and how we become. And because the thing that fascinates me most is they can look at physical traits of DNA and find out whether you have, you know, what color hair, color skin. But the thing that's real fascinating is the emotional and sociological traits. It's like they can tell if you're a risk taker or a thrill seeker and things like this. And it's like, how far are we from telling how telepathic we are, or how how we can feel other people's emotions, or, you know, these superpowers, superhuman abilities. So maybe our birthdays, and I'm always fascinated with our mankind's fascination. I'm fascinated by our fascinations with superheroes and superhero ability gods, like the Greek pantheon and so on. And I think it's us subconsciously knowing that that is in our nature. It is in our underlying DNA programming, and we've been subjugated through societal processes of psychological and, different types of control to keep us from, I guess, rioting in masses and causing a lot of damage to each other. But, there's a lot of... It's really weird how the synchronicities line up with the way that you begin to discover things and the things that seem to pop in that line up with the way... It's almost like the argument of, like, you see what you're looking for, or there are actual synchronicities. But to finish it out, I would say that the significance of our birthday is no more than that of the significance of our innate, non-physical connections, abilities, and nature. Like when I say nature, like the way that we are naturally. Not like the trees and the plants and the stuff, but the behavior that we exhibit without force, like the unforced way of us. I think that is the significance of our birthday. It's our non-physical, spiritual nature that has been marked at that one point in time. And so every year, instead of saying happy birthday, we should be like, celebrate your DNA, or celebrate your unique manifestation, your unique existence beyond that of physical ways. So not just here, but celebrate your connection with all things relative to the time when you came into existence, became part of all things. I just find it fascinating, the connection of different suns to possible different DNA lines and traits. That's fascinating. But with all that said, we are as bananas. So happy birthday, bunch of bananas. We do. It's weird. We have a connection on a deeper level to all these things, despite there not being a physical way to explain it. But fascinating thoughts that are just popping into my head about the significance, the real significance of a birthday, rather than it just being a day. Because I'm like, we are special and important every dang day of the year. Like, you're not more loved on your birthday. You're not more significant on your birthday. It's like every single day you are more significant. But at the same time, no more or less significant than any other day or any other thing. Because it is a coexistent relationship. This underlying connection that makes the significance of all things much greater than any one leaf or one tree or one person or one day. And but it's also interesting, the cycles and the connections between locations. Maybe that, and the energy, there we go, the energetic connection of the cycles and the locations to the non-physical experience, maybe even our consciousness, way we experience life is significant by our birthday. Maybe. All right. Seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Seek to discover the hidden mysteries of our reality, hidden secrets of the universe, the meaning of life, and the wisdom of the ages. I'll be back in the future with more interesting topics to throw your way.